I'm sure many, if not all of you, at one time or another have either had to or just took a ride on a Sunday up US 1, all the way up to Santa Cruz and maybe even beyond. And if you go up to Santa Cruz, you have to take that fish hook, you know, that kind of gets you around if you're going to go beyond Santa Cruz or if you're going to go down to the beach. And as you take the fish hook, if you look to your left, not while you're driving, but if you look to your left, there's this, you'll see the spire on a large white clapboard church with this gray tower. And I remember that back in 1999, I had just arrived in California, and I was coming down, and I was on my way to Watsonville, and I see this church. I said, oh, I wonder if they're Lutherans or Methodists. Because back in the Midwest and in the Northeast, that's the type of church that the old circuit riders built. That you could see from a distance that here people gathered for prayer. And it was also a way for people to find the church because they could see the spire. The bell tower called the people to let them know that, you know, prayer was happening, and the spire allowed them to gather in that place. Little did I know until later on that it's Holy Cross Parish. Yeah. Still not sure if they're Methodists or private. You know, today we celebrate the Feast of the Presentation, and we hear this phrase that Simeon says, that God has made you a light of revelation to the Gentiles, and the glory of your people, Israel. That's a pretty amazing statement. I mean, we've been focusing on this theme of light now for several weeks. And by the way, today you can officially take down your Christmas decorations. Okay? Today is officially the complete end of the Christmas season. And we've been focusing on this theme of light, that Jesus is the light of the world, that in Jesus, God reveals light in our darkness, light constantly coming into the darkness. I spoke about it 2 weeks ago. Deacon Bill spoke about it last week. I'm speaking about it again today, and it comes up again next week. This theme of light kind of pervades this period of the year, a light of revelation to the nations. Now, if any of you were baptized within the past 50 years, then you were baptized according to the new rite. And in the new rite, the deacon or priest, after the baptism, takes the baptismal candle, lights it from the paschal candle, and presents it to the parents or godparents and says, receive the light of Christ. Parents and godparents, it is your responsibility to keep this light burning faithfully in the life of this child. It's not just a matter of protection. It's a matter of sharing, of dissemination. If Mary and Joseph, if Jesus himself had said, yeah, you're right, I'm a light of revelation to the nations, boy, I better keep this safe, you and I wouldn't be here. It's because Christ, in recognizing his mission as light of revelation to the nations, that this is a light to be shared. Just like those churches that stand out on a hillside to let people know, Christian or not, here the community gathers. Here the believers are present. Today across the church is also a day that back in the year 2000, Pope John Paul II named as a World Day of Prayer for consecrated religious, consecrated life. So priests, nuns, brothers, all those people who are members of consecrated life. It's a very interesting thing because consecrated communities, you know, the non-monastic form of those consecrated communities arose back in the 16th century to respond to real needs in the community. Mostly because we weren't doing it. The poor needed to be served, and people responded by committing their life to it. People needed education, hospitals needed to be run, all kinds of different things. But you know, by virtue of our baptism, we are all called to do that. It is not, and that's the danger with religious life. Because the danger was, well, that's the nun's job, or that's the brother's job. We don't have to worry about it. They're doing it for us. No. It is our role, by virtue of our consecration in baptism, that you and I are the ones who are called upon to respond to the needs of the world. But as I'm stealing a line from Deacon Bill right now, who frequently, when talking about the permanent diaconate, says that if all of us are called to service, then some of us need to be ordained as living reminders of what that service looks like. If all of us are called to be a light of revelation to the nations by virtue of our baptism, then some of us need to be consecrated as living reminders of what you and I all share, of the vocation that you and I all share. Religious life should not be a vocation that's become obsolete. Not at all. If anything, we need it more today than we've ever needed it. Men and women that are willing to commit their lives to be of service to our people as a reminder to you and me of the commitment to service that we all make by virtue of our baptism. I think that's very important for us, because it's in this way that we build up the community. It's in this way that you and I are reminded. We become those spires in the community. We become those signs that people can see anywhere, that here our God is present. Here our God is followed. Here is the light of revelation to the nations and the glory of God's people, Israel. You and I, by virtue of our baptism, are called to that. The question is, how will we do that? You know, all throughout the baptismal ceremony, we are constantly reminding parents and godparents that it is their responsibility to be the first teachers in the faith, to be the first ones to raise their children in the ways of faith. I have to say that in my 20 years as a Catholic high school teacher, I frequently had to get up and tell parents, I said, look folks, don't make me tell the kids that you're lying to them. Because the fact is, if I teach them one thing in class, and then at home you teach them something else by your actions, kids aren't stupid. They're going to figure it out, and they're going to ask, why? How come you say we should go to Mass on Sunday, and my parents say that's their only day of the week to sleep in? You're forcing me to tell your children that your kids are not right, and that you're not right. It's a very difficult thing to do. The fact is, by virtue of our baptism, of participating in the baptismal ceremony, we all, as a community, take on the responsibility of raising up each other in the faith, of raising up each other as a light to the nations, a light of revelation, in the ways that we serve, in the ways that we are present for each other, in the ways that we are visible signs of compassion, mercy, and forgiveness. Today, on this day, this feast of the presentation of the Lord, when it's recognized that this child is unique, may we recognize that every one of us is unique. Every one of our children and grandchildren is unique. Every one of us is unique. And that in us, God wishes to reveal his glory to the people. It's our opportunity to share that out.